So there were technical difficulties in the past, well, relative to the last 12 hours before this recording, but just know that, man, it was not great. So that's why this video is coming in place of a stream. The only other thing I would probably need to say is I have to reload the game, because I forgot I was moving things around, is that if the person who made the modded character you're going to see, that's probably in the thumbnail as well, it doesn't want their character to be in 1.01, then let me know and I'll take this video down. Otherwise, I did want to play this character during the stream. I usually hit my limit of 3 characters because I do two runs per 3 characters, and I'm going to do the same here. So we're going to start on pretty much normal stuff, Ath, and we'll move on. So as we get into Ath, World of Horror character exclusive, custom character. And I know where the original source came from, but boy, man, yeah, like I said, the short version, if you didn't watch the intro, is that I had technical difficulties and there was no stream, therefore this video is being put out. Light, Charisma, Strength, second encounter, second mystery, and maybe a knowledge check, which would be really nice, because we have 11 knowledge. And I'll pretty much be autopiloting here and there. I should say something about the stat spread as I go into Illegal Den, because we have the Scalpel. 3 strength is my only gripe, but when you have 11 knowledge, I mean, just all is forgiven. We also start with the medical kit, which we know we're not on medical history, with this character starts with a medical kit, for good reason. So we'll look for the rumor twice, and I will also continue talking about custom stuff, as I love the back portrait Ward, Sailors, Kana, Vigil, and Bulletin. And we'll move on. So, I mean, all things considered, this character would not probably just poke Kana's eyeball out, but hey. But yeah, as for custom content, there are a lot of questions people ask, and again, I can't expect everyone to know why certain things are not done. Basically, even just for everyone's characters, if we're going more generally, oh my goodness, I almost lost my wording, is that, well, why don't certain characters have events? It's because if I were to implement them for 1.02, it's currently bugged at the moment, and on top of the more important fact, now that I know now, is that how events are going to link, or something about the ETO files is going to be reworked in a way. I mean, maybe there's going to be an addition instead, but essentially this is the point. While it might be good to make character linked events right now, and maybe those won't be touched at all, I could do that, but I think I'd rather play on the safe side and not create something and then have to change it completely. I still think in general it would probably be a good idea, but I'm basically gambling against the odds here and saying that if things are basically being looked over for custom content. I know this because there's talk directly from the developer talking about how basically we'll have more creativity, and this is essentially also a solution to why events, especially linked events, are currently, well, events that link into other events are not working as much, which doesn't sound like it does a lot for custom characters, but I only add this on because I tried to use custom events for a character I made before 1.02, and I tried to implement them and basically come out with another character version for 1.02 public beta test, and the event wasn't working properly. In fact, there were bugs that I saw there. The strange thing was, as I was troubleshooting my own problems, is that I was playing a character on 1.02 that had character-specific, had character events of their own, but for some reason, it was pretty much working pristine, save from one event, as opposed to the character I was playing with, and, it was not working at all. So, I was a bit confused, so it might be a me problem, but I might as well play it safe and wait for the update, unless well, no, not really. Character events, if I was going to add character-specific events, which I do want to do, I want to make sure that because essentially adding in character events does change the balance of your character gameplay-wise. I mean, we'll go extreme here and say there's an event that, well, there is an event that gives a character 100 experience immediately, so that's the literal example I can use when I talk about how the balance can change, because if a character has an event that just gives them, experience or a certain weapon or something very good, then like that obviously makes the game a lot easier. Still though, it would be nice for immersion's sake to add character events, but there is a limit to those as well, for those who don't know, and that's, I think, 4 events? Let's even assume 8 events. You might want to add more. You can't just make generic events and put them in a custom folder, because then those events will trigger for all characters, but I think people would normally want to play with more than even 8 events. Let's go crazy and even just completely change the game and just do like 60, 70 plus events. That's a bit much, but you get the point. People want to, you know, be creative. And so do I. It's just that there is a limit, and usually you're not going to run into that many events, but at the same time, again, I think enemies linked to characters are also not working or something like that. Anywho. Basically, there's a lot wrong with the current public beta version of 1.02 in terms of eventing for characters and mysteries, so that's why I'm playing it safe. It would be interesting, but I literally spent at least a day going over character events and whatnot and seeing why some things might have worked. I have theories, but I don't want to spread misinformation by getting it wrong. So just know the reason why none of my characters have character events, at least, is because there are issues in the current public beta of version 1.02, which basically adds Steam integration, but that in itself required the game to read your custom content differently. Slightly, but it does cause problems, and, you know, that's why... I assume that's why there are now bugs. Do I just want to do this? I think I do. This is gonna hurt my reason, but... I can at least stay above 3 reason before we do this. I could have traded stamina for reason here. Not a bad idea, but hey. I will admit that's, funny enough, a primary concern with the scalpel. Yeah, while you do get guaranteed prep attack, it... Even though I think 4 damage weapons are normally reliable, they do have a little 8, they're in that 8 damage range where a lot of enemies in a Harbinger, for some reason, they just give you a harder time with only 8 minimum damage. Reliable damage, anyway. What do I want here? I could have thrown the baseball bat, but a bit too late now. I do want to take the handcuffs out eventually. I also need to sell something, because I should probably just sell the bat. Make sure it sells for funds at all. If it didn't, then the scalpel would have been different. If I were on random item stats, I think I should have been able to tell. Anywho. That being said, just as a quick little, not reminder, but just to say it, this video will not have an end screen. It's probably just going to go up as a raw video. I like raw videos. They, you know, a good test of whether or not I can do a video straight in one shot. Of course, there's also no... I mean, you just have to believe me when I say I did this in one shot, and I didn't try to record this 2 or 3 times in the past, but hey. So yeah. Anywho. So I'm doing my best, doing what I can. I do want to keep making custom stuff for World of Horror, but I also have, again, still juggling things now. We're in about the middle-ish of May. I almost got the name of the month wrong, but yeah, it's a thing. It's a whole process I'm going through basically right now. Oh, do I want to gamble on this? I mean, I have more than enough stamina, so you know what? Gamble. Well, I can actually... Can I do better? It looks like I can do better. A guarantee... So basically a coin flip here. I also could have just done attack into strong attack. I don't know why I did that to myself, because I forgot that I was getting bonus damage. But as we take this curious package out... I will say, aside from the scalpel, the medical kit is also a good bonus for this character. In general, because taking care of major injuries is a bit of a hassle. On average, it would take about 6 doom to get rid of a major injury at base, unless you just get lucky. But assuming you don't have all the resources, and by resources I mean funds, it costs about 6 doom in total, so that's not something you're willing to pay for every major injury, and I mean, if you're looking at the numbers, the medical kit is 6 doom in that case. I just realized I could have used enthrallment there. I had to pause talking because I just skipped that. Anywho, I'm still feeling pretty comfortable. We are a character that starts with a weapon and has high stat in the stat that the weapon uses. Scalpel being a knowledge weapon. And then we have a pretty good weapon. Even if I don't want to use the medical kit, I can sell the medical kit for 2 funds. So at bare minimum, it's 4 doom, or possibly even more than that. But let's assume you still hit the prepare option in your run. Yeah, it's a lot of doom you save. 95%. If I hit this, I should. Oh, no, I'm not. Okay, who am I? What am I talking about? I need to do this twice to save to only take 2 stamina anyway, and then we can do a thing. And then we'll see if the person who, again, I'm not saying that, oh, they're not going to do it. We'll see. I think the person who made this character wants to make the other 2 characters, and that's all I'll say about that. And that would be a sight to see. I'm always down to playing more custom content, because if nothing else, it gives me a larger perspective in video game design in general. And that sounds weird, but trust me, it makes sense in the long run. I can't explain it at the moment, because I'm also thinking about how to survive, but as we go to Vigil here, Vigil with 8 stamina, 5 reason. I think I had something else I could take out. Smacking my lips. We need to take the Vigil pamphlet immediately, so store the Tome of Rot, and into Vigil I go. If I die here, this would be my fault. My biggest mistake, if I died a reason here, would be taking Vigil right now. Anywho, 12 damage per turn does sound nice, so max 9 stamina, I guess. Sharpening Stone. It's because we have Sharpening Stone. I was like, what exact effect is giving me its Sharpening Stone? That being said, funny enough, while I was waiting for my, for things to resolve, because when I fix something, I'm usually just sitting around waiting. Thankfully, I have another setup to play with at the moment, but trust me, technical difficulties were pretty bad. So what I was doing was going over Disco Elysium, the game. Not sponsored, by the way. I just want to say that, I was going over Disco Elysium. It's a pretty good game. If nothing else, again, it gets my mind, chugging along, thinking about how to do, storytelling generally, but more specifically character development, what's the exact word I'm looking for here as I run away from Rubu Ghost? Characterization, I guess, is kind of still a general term, but you get the. If you've ever played Disco Elysium, boy, as I roll a 12 on luck, it certainly has some memorable characters. The protagonist aside, 11 knowledge, please. Oh my god, I rolled a 9 plus 1, but you know what? We'll stick with it. Now that I'm looking at those 2 spells, I actually effectively have more reason than I thought, and less stamina, just based on how much stamina I just lost in my face. But as I move on here, yeah, we'll do our best. We'll level up again. Haunting Dreams? Yeah, Haunting Dreams. Heal more, quote-unquote, heal more reason or gain experience for losing reason. We're kind of late in the run. If we were earlier, maybe I'd take Morbid Inspiration, but we also have Sharpening Stone. If Sharpening Stone and Morbid Inspiration appeared in the same level up, I'd probably take Sharpening Stone, considering the types of weapons I used. Because aside from Monkey Wrench, I do use quite a few sharp weapons. Scalpel included in that, if you start with one, so it does synergize well. So in Sailors as our last mystery, 60% Doom, so we're doing okay on that front. However, do we have Fetid Fumes is my only worry right now? No. And we already got Time Skip, so I don't have to worry about a surprise extra 5 Doom later. Why did I say it like that? We did lose Bath, but hey, who cares? We'll take a nap, because that does nothing because of penalty damage. Gosh dang it. But yeah, aside from that, I mean, if I go, I'm not going to... Can I not stutter and repeat myself? I am not going to go over every god. I think the only other god we'll play in this video is Zektast. So when I get to Zektast, yeah, I'm going to talk about Zektast there. But speaking of other old gods, Kethak, less of an issue. Again, when you start with a weapon, you worry a lot less about your resources, because you're really not spending anything, whether it's 2 curses in the tree or a lot of Doom for prepare to get the funds to buy a weapon. Maybe you have a mystery, but that's RNG related. As for Goizo, same thing. You can either just run away, but either whether you do or not, you have a weapon with you anyway. So if you need to fight, you can. It's a much more feasible option with the amount of doom you don't have to spend at the beginning. As for it though, to prep attack with a scalpel specifically can result in some pretty cool things, but it also presents some questionable things when you prep attack against an encounter that's doing a lot of damage to you, which might not be so much nice. But again, for a character with the weapon, especially with as much knowledge as this character has, if we're just to even calculate it now, you can get 3 scalpel attacks pretty comfortably. Old gods forbid, you are even faster than you are. Did we do the thing? I think we did the thing. And you know what? I said this is going to be a raw video, and I realize I have to stand up because now I have to fix the thing that I was talking about. Technical difficulties, but we'll finish this run first, and then I will move on with life. And by that, I mean continue this recording. But, as I have to remember that I lost Bath. We do have both second checks, and we have the... Do we have the 6th floor? We do. So, 6 Doom plus 16, assuming we fail every single thing. Oh, we have 11 knowledge, so I should be comfortable with 7 stamina. I didn't even really look at my thing because I have to desperately finish this run and then fix a thing. So, whoops. But nonetheless, we should be pretty okay here, and if we are, I will see you in a hot moment because boy, we're gonna get there. I don't think we even have Takshisan, so I can really just kind of rush through this. I literally am rolling on 25% here, but again, our Doom is perfectly fine. So hey, look at there, question mark? But yeah, I'll see you in a moment. You know, the funny thing about wires, when they tangle themselves up, for some reason when they're tangled up, you'd think they wouldn't break as easily, but it turns out they do, because the wires are not meant to bend in certain ways. But as we can get on to our second run, yes, this is kind of related to my technical difficulties. We'll set item stats to random, as that's right. This does normally cover the rest of the text that gets overcast, but if you're making a character, if it does go over the quote-unquote, well, basically the line, or basically past the text box, there are certain settings where it'll just show, because these text boxes, like the item stats randomization, the character perks, or all perks, or the, timeline selection, do not cover it. So, anywho, just something that I've learned myself the hard way when I accidentally went over, and I'm like, maybe that's fine, and then it wasn't fine. As we get into Zektas, Curious Birthmark, character exclusive, random item, Frankenstein character. That's not the name, but you get the point. Light, second encounter, dexterity, charisma, knowledge, and maybe second mystery. Now, the funny thing is, when you start with at least 10 of a stat, you can still keep it at 8 without a Zektas event, but that comes at the cost of, if you have any ZST, and by ZST I mean Zektas stats that, as a quantity, you have to make up for, or you die at 84% Doom or less. So this character has 1 ZST, it's Strength, 1 point of Strength, which there are no generic perks for, although I like building to Strength, so it doesn't really matter as much for me. The second thing that I can get into is that the Scalpel is now randomized, but this doesn't really seem that random. And the accuracy is usually a non-issue, because I personally like to prep attack, but if you like to try and do 3 attacks, it does matter. So that's the only other thing about Zektas that I can comment on at the moment. Otherwise, what will come next are the mysteries, which I see Botanist, Nails, Coma, Arms, and Flood. So Botanist, but we also have Flood, so they kind of cancel each other out Doom-wise, in my head anyway. Then we have Nails and Arms, possible boss and Arms, definite boss and Nails. So the order seems like it's going to be, well, Coma last. I like taking Coma last, along with Sailors, if they have both. If I have both Sailors last, but Nails, Arms, Flood, I think is going to be my chosen order. I was thinking of the way to word that, but yeah, and we're gonna try not to visit any shops, but we do have Flood. So police station is usually always gonna be better for you. We're in Nails now, so the hospital wouldn't be a bad pick, but we do also have Flood and Botanist. So at some point, I do want to switch to the patrols to the forest. We have 3 hospital investigations now. And if I believed I was in Timeline A Arms, I would have more hospital investigations if I wanted to do the side quest. But since there's no real, well, Flood, School maybe, but you get the point. It's basically all on the RNG that the game gives me, whether or not it's a good idea to do the side quest for Arms to try and get the tiny key if we're on Timeline A, and also if whether or not the time in which I switch my police patrol to the forest is of use for me. Let's see. Yeah, I probably want to handcuff this encounter, because this is a definite boss that I can handcuff. And then I would only take 3 stamina damage. Yes, 3 stamina damage. So yeah, that's not a bad boss encounter, in my opinion anyway. If your threshold for HP pain per boss encounter is like 6 to 8, then you can deal with it. It is possible to do that. I've seen people do it. But it's just not in my personal comfort zone, because I usually get afraid of things like Botanist when I'm stuck in the forest phase, or Flood when I'm just stuck in general. Though, you do have rests available, there are still some unfortunate events that can happen, though, that make Flood, and mainly because the boss of Flood is very painful anyway, so I don't want to lose more reason than I do. There are moments, and I think I have them on recording, where I get hurt in Flood a little bit, and even if I rest, it's very painful. Now, thankfully, Zektas gave me a strength increasing event, so I don't have to worry about strength or ZST anymore. I will survive past 84% Doom. The next question is, what stat I want to raise? Probably still knowledge. Strength would still not be a bad one, but for the moment, again, our Doom... We might even reach the Lighthouse at 50% Doom, which would be very good, but we'll see. Again, the other smaller advantage this character has in general is higher stats overall in terms of... I think their stat total is at least like 40 or something. I don't actually remember at the moment. I think it was at least like 39, 40 though. I feel like it was that much. But strength being lower, in my opinion, is a balancing factor. You not being able to brace comfortably into anything really can hurt a character. Now, granted, this character also starts with a weapon, but... So, in general, in my opinion, this character has a lot going for them. The biggest minus, and quite a weighty, heavy minus in my opinion, is the strength, but apart from that, pretty good perks for what's happening. And... high knowledge means you pass events. Ill-fated, kind of a troublesome thing to take care of, but still, in battle, having high knowledge here for Scalpel is being able to prep attack, prep strong is pretty good. Now we are losing 3 stamina per turn. I don't think I can get anything better though. Can I do this? Not really. So 82% to do 4 damage for 1 stamina, or guaranteed 10 damage for 3 stamina. I think I'm gonna do this. If I want to throw this bottle of water, maybe. But I think I'm just gonna take the guarantee, because I can still desperate struggle at this point anyway. And then get out. If I had Sharpening Stone, I think that would have made the difference, but... definitely would have made the difference if I wanted to take a gamble. But as we get into Flood with 15% Doom, we're doing pretty good, all things considered. You still want to be efficient if possible, because you never know what's going to happen. You could get stuck in Botanist and suddenly be at 3 Reason and then die from a... I think we have at least... yeah, we have a max threat level for us, so we're definitely taking... definitely taking damage penalties. Please. There's a lot I need to say. We get bonus damage, but I forgot about that, so... Sweaty Assailant isn't the hardest encounter anyway, and it shouldn't be. It's a forced encounter at the beginning of the mystery, but, you know, it's always nice. It is an objective fact as we enter the school here. Thankfully did not have to look for the Theologist in the forest. But we do want to switch the police patrols to the forest because we have some forest investigations to do. The next question is whether or not I want to take a researcher. But I don't think I'll have enough either I can top myself off or take a damage researcher and not top myself off. That's really the trade we're going with here. And that is the trade that we're presented. So, as we get into this boss fight, we can still do this. If we get bonus damage, that would be nice, but I think the bonus damage is actually not something I would normally use, so away we go. Now, I do want to trade stamina here at some point, because we are going to overheal on stamina after the mystery. So, that'll probably be this turn. Can I get 4 of these? Let's find out. We can. And the next turn, we should be guaranteed to get out. Now, hopefully we don't lose Bath, but if we do, I mean, we'll play around it. We get the 6th floor. I forgot my second encounter, so... I mean, with Zektas, I'm going slow I'm trying to be efficient on Doom anyway. And we're on our 4th... Granted, we're about to enter Botanist, but if we had roads closed, things could still have spiraled downhill. Is that Fetid Fumes I see? It is. So actually, if we rest a lot, this Doom is going to shoot back up. But shoot back up towards 100%. But until then, let us figure out what else do we want to... I probably should have just traded funds there. We'll see if that was a good decision or not. Oh my goodness, I have to see a thing. I might have to actually make a cut here because I see a thing I need to take care of. Thank you for the charisma. I didn't need it. But hey, and yeah, we'll get into this next thing and I need to actually make a cut. Oh no! You know, the other thing I lament is that when I have to run around, I usually want to catch my breath because otherwise, I mean, usually you'd hear it. And as I cool down for a moment, hopefully I don't just die because I lost focus for a moment. I mean, I've only been gone for like a few, but hey, anything can happen, right? We are going to brace here. We're also taking -2 all, most likely. As we get Survivor's Guild. Don't I have an old coin for this? I do. I don't need to use it, though. The question is if I want to just guarantee this and take another point of -1 all, which it seems like I'm doing, so we'll do that and get out. That's not the greatest. I probably could have just run, but well, let's see if I die for that. I probably should have just run, considering how long I'm going to be stuck in this forest, but hopefully I get enough knowledge checks to last. I pretty much pass every single knowledge check. Now, that's not great. In fact, I'm going to old coin that away. Just in case I somehow die. I forget, why do I forget when that procs? Anyway, I know it procs off of enemy damage, but that's the exact knowledge check I was thinking of when I was hoping for more. Now I don't remember any others, because that's a strength check. Rolled a 1, so by the grace of the game I survived, because keep in mind this is at least a high threat level location. So we're doing our best to survive. I'm going to save on this. I'm going to save this level up, just in case I need to heal stamina. But thankfully I don't, so we're going to level up now. Extra healing would probably be pretty good. Most meat items are stamina healing, but... or stamina recovery is the more correct phrasing in English, I believe. Not that, you know, English is my native language, so there's no reason for me to be like this, but... as we take an extra 3% Doom, again, if we make it to the end, if we make it to the lighthouse, we should be good no matter what. This is the... well, this is what should be the norm for your Zektas run, but again, sometimes RNG doesn't allow for that. So instead what happens is that you just take a bunch of Doom and stat loss, and that very quickly spirals downward. But it's not impossible at that point. I think the average is practically that, where you don't want to spend too much Doom, or you don't want Doom to increase too much, but it somehow does for whatever reason, like you run into this guy and you have to run. And so what that does is it normally bleeds your stats away, which makes you worse in encounters. Again, characters with an extreme stat spread like this do have a different time in Zektas. It's not always an easy one, but easier in the way that you can do things like this. I could probably just run again, all things considered. I'm probably going to do that. If you have 45 up to 50, even 55% Doom right now, and you run to an encounter you don't like, you should probably just run. This is Coma, though, right? Yeah, this is Coma, so actually we do need to switch back to the hospital. At least for Doom's sake, but If we let the nurse rest, that would probably actually be better for us. We now run into the bloodsucker enemy. I'm just gonna keep running. Again, if you're in your last mystery and you have less than 60% Doom, you have my seal of approval to run. Now, if you run into 3 Doom increasing events back to back for whatever reason, that's unfortunate, but it really shouldn't happen. Of course, if you don't know what you're doing in World of Horror, that can likely happen, but normally it's not the case. Also, keeping in mind we're going to be losing 3 Reason here, I normally don't like to do ending a coma. That involves a boss that does a lot of damage. So, yeah, my answer to that is no. So as we grab a lump of flesh and lose the bath, so yeah, we should be good to go here. Reaching the lighthouse with 80% Doom, less than 80% Doom, and a good amount of stamina and Reason like this. If you rest at the lighthouse, the run's in the bag. So I know I can only take upwards of 6 stamina damage. My knowledge is at 10. My Reason might be in trouble, but we only lose up to 5 here too, aside from a Paranoia proc if we had it, but even then I would probably just do this and walk up the staircase. Steps 2, but staircase is probably the more accurate term. I don't remember at all though. Let's just say it was the vent crawler and get it wrong. But yeah, I've walked away from this recording too many times, exactly 2 times, but it was for good reason, so forgive me for that. But otherwise, again, definitely a better character than most that I've played, balance-wise, or gameplay-wise, in terms of what I believe, how difficult the average run would be. And I think Zektas is not the test of difficulty, but it's definitely an interesting god to put custom characters up against to see how they fare. But without further ado, yeah, that'll be the video substituting a stream or the best that I can do because of technical difficulties. And if you liked the video, you know what to do. If you didn't, you also know what to do, and I'll leave you at that. Thank you for watching. I'll see you later. Bye!